The deepest place on Earth was never supposed to contain a city. Yet one research mission returned with footage that scientists still cannot explain. At first, everyone believed the robot had been destroyed. The pressure at the bottom of the ocean is so extreme that it can crush steel like paper. Losing equipment there isn't unusual, but this time, something impossible happened. Nearly 8 hours after all communication was lost, the robot came back, completely silent. Its lights were still on, its cameras were still recording. But no one understood how it had returned on its own. Inside its memory was nearly 6 hours of footage. Most of it showed nothing except darkness, cold water, floating particles, the endless black silence of the abyss. Then, at exactly 5 hours and 43 minutes, everything changed. A wall appeared, not a rock, not a cliff. A perfectly smooth surface stretching beyond the camera's view, straight lines, sharp angles, geometry, things that nature almost never creates. The deeper the robot traveled, the larger the structure became. Scientists watching the footage stopped speaking. No geological formation on Earth looked like this. Then, the camera captured something even stranger, a gigantic doorway, standing alone, at the bottom of the deepest ocean on Earth. The discovery was immediately classified. Only a small team of marine geologists, engineers, and deep-sea experts were allowed to examine the footage. At first, everyone searched for a natural explanation. Perhaps it was an unusual volcanic formation, maybe an ancient underwater cliff, or a rare crystal structure. But every theory collapsed within hours. The surface was too smooth, the edges were too perfect. The angles matched mathematical precision. Nature creates beauty, but it rarely creates symmetry like this, frame by frame. The scientists reconstructed the robot's final route. What they found was even more disturbing. The wall wasn't a wall, it was only one side of something much larger. As the robot continued moving forward, more structures slowly emerged from the darkness. Massive pillars, broken stairways, gigantic platforms stretching into the abyss. The sonar scans revealed straight lines extending for several kilometers. This wasn't a random collection of rocks. It looked planned, designed, built. One scientist quietly whispered a sentence that nobody in the room wanted to hear. What if this isn't geology? What if it's architecture? The room fell silent. Because architecture requires intelligence, and intelligence requires a builder. But according to everything we know, nothing intelligent should have existed here, not millions of years ago, not at the bottom of the deepest ocean on Earth. Then the robot captured one final image, symbols, dozens of them, carved into the enormous doorway. None matched any language humanity has ever discovered. The next question was obvious. How old was it? Scientists collected every geological record available from the surrounding seabed. The answer shocked everyone. Layer after layer of ancient sediment had buried the structure over millions of years. This wasn't something that had recently sunk beneath the ocean. It had been there. Long before modern humans, long before the first civilizations, long before history itself. Some estimates suggested the structure could be over 30 million years old. To understand how impossible that is, 30 million years ago, our ancestors weren't building cities, they weren't building anything. Human beings didn't even exist. The oceans were different. The continents looked different. Entire species that once ruled Earth have vanished since then. Yet somehow, this structure remained, perfectly preserved beneath unimaginable pressure. If something built it, who were they? Where did they come from? And what happened to them? Some researchers suggested it was simply an unknown natural phenomenon. Others quietly considered something far more controversial. What if intelligence appeared on Earth, long before humanity? An idea so unbelievable. Most scientists refused to discuss it publicly, but the evidence continued growing. Every scan, every measurement, every frame of video pointed toward the same terrifying possibility. Someone, or something, was here first. No one wanted to go back, not after what the robot had recorded. but curiosity has always been stronger than fear. 6 months later, a second expedition was approved. This time the mission wasn't to explore, it was to answer one simple question. What exactly was hidden beneath the ocean floor? As the new submersible slowly descended into the darkness, everything seemed normal. The same freezing water, the same endless silence, until the structure appeared again, larger than anyone remembered. The pilots carefully approached the enormous doorway. Every instrument inside the submarine suddenly began to malfunction. Navigation systems failed, compasses started spinning wildly. Even the cameras flickered for a few seconds. Then, something happened that no scientific report could explain. The symbols carved into the doorway began to glow, one by one, as if something inside had just awakened. Nobody touched the structure, nobody transmitted any signal, yet it reacted. The entire crew froze. For 17 seconds, the doorway remained illuminated. Then, complete darkness returned. The mission was immediately aborted. No attempt has ever been made to enter the structure again, to this day. The official explanation is simple, an unusual geological formation, nothing more. But many of the scientists who studied the footage disagree because they know one terrifying fact. Natural formations do not build perfect doors, natural formations do not carve symbols, and they certainly do not wake up when someone comes near. So, if something really is waiting beneath the deepest ocean on Earth, perhaps the greatest mystery isn't what it is, perhaps the greatest mystery is whether it already knows we're here.